Oh, but that man has children, and he has grandchildren, and he knows that America is the greatest country in the world. This is the best thing going, and we must defend it tooth and nail with every generation, or else we are doomed to lose it. Please, on January 15th, 7 o'clock, we need every last person in here to show up. Iowa is ground zero for our democratic process, and we have got to show the world this is not just Trump country here in Iowa. America is Trump country. Now, I'm looking around here, I'm thinking many of you are wondering, what's this guy doing here? He's not from Iowa. I am here because President Trump knows a lot of smart people. President Trump knows a lot of geniuses. And I'm here to tell you that I'm probably the smartest person he knows. And I'm also a genius. And do you know why? My wife was born and raised right here in Iowa. That makes me the smartest person in the world. I'm a genius because my wife was born and raised right here in Caucus, Iowa. Stand to be recognized. Shelley, Chet, my in-laws, please stand to be recognized. Yeah, stand up. And that's my little boy, Willie. That's what I'm doing here because we were able to meet and we were able to fall in love. And it had nothing to do with the color of our skin or what part of the country we were from. Small town girl from Caucus, Iowa. Big city guy from the city of Houston, fourth largest city in the entire country, but we shared common values that made us all Americans first. When I look at a crowd like this, I don't see black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I don't see any of that. I just see freedom-loving Americans. I come from a military family. My dad is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. My sister went to West Point in my family first. She served 23 years active duty. I went to West Point in my family second, served 8 years in Apache helicopter pilot, deployed to Iraq, flew 55 combat air missions in Baghdad, 2 tours of duty in Saudi Arabia. My brother is also a West Point graduate. There's 60 years worth of military service just in my immediate family. And if you are a Vietnam veteran, you are here right now, please stand to be recognized. Vietnam veterans. Any of you here? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. The reason why I'm calling on the Vietnam veterans is because when they returned home to this country, they weren't treated very well. They were being spat on by our fellow Americans. When I came home to a hero's welcome. That's why I always recognize the Vietnam guys. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice, for you paved the way for men like me. God bless you and thank you. My great-great-grandfather was a slave. He was born on Rosedown Plantation about 33.5 miles north of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's still there today. Three of his great-great-grandchildren attended West Point. 3 of his great-great-grandchildren earned multiple master's degrees from Ivy League schools. 3 of their great-great-grandchildren served in active duty in the military. 1 of his great-great-grandchildren became a United States congressman in a white majority district in the suburb of Houston, Texas, and I won by 30 points. I tell you that story because that's the progress of this country. And we need to continue to make that same progress for the future. I am less interested in focusing on the ills of the past and far more interested in continuing to move forward. So a black man from Houston could marry a white young lady from Caucus, Iowa, and we are living in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and nobody cares. We're not there yet. God has blessed us. We have a ways to go. But keep in mind that the day is always darkest before the dawn. Let's keep in mind this country has been in worse shape before. Let's keep in mind that this is a country that ripped itself apart because of civil war, and yet here we stand. This is a country that became back-to-back World War champions and rid the world of fascism. You're welcome, world. In World War I and World War II, yet here we stand. This is a country that went through Vietnam. This is a country that survived 9/11 when 3,000 lives were evaporated instantly because of terror in this country. And if we can survive all of that, then with President Trump, we can survive Joe Biden. I'll end with this. Frederick Douglass famously said, if there is no struggle, there's no progress. Those who profess freedom yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. The struggle may be a moral one or a physical one, or it may be both moral and physical, but there must be a struggle. For power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. The last 4 years have been the struggle. And the brave patriots that I see before me that will show up for President Trump on January the 15th will be our progress. It truly is an honor to be in what I call my second home, the great state of Iowa. And it is truly an honor to stand here representing President Trump. But most importantly, it's an honor to know that the people that have shed blood for our country, it was not in vain. And the American spirit fire is still alive and well. And that's why President Trump was our 45th president, and he will be our 47th president of the greatest country in the world. Thank you. God bless you.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child, Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. And the flames went, and it burns, burns, the ring of fire. And it burns, the ring of fire, the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Yeah, right. Picture that with a Kodak. Or better yet, go to Times Square, take a picture of me with a Kodak. Took my life from negative to positive. I just want y'all to know that. And tonight, let's enjoy life. Pitbull, Naya, Neo. That's right.
I want all of you tonight. Give me everything. For all we know, we might not get tomorrow. Let's do it tonight. Let's do it tonight. Grab somebody sexy, tell them, hey, give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight.
Bears of the night. Cause tomorrow I'm also due battle, perform for a princess. But tonight, I can make you my queen and make love to you endless. It's insane the way the name growing, money keep flowing. Hustlers moving silent, so I'm tiptoeing. So keep locked up like Lindsay Lohan. Put it on my life, baby. I'ma give you a ride, baby. Can't promise tomorrow, but I promise tonight. Excuse me. A little more than I should tonight. Take you home with me tonight. And baby, I'ma make you feel so good tonight. Cause we might not get tomorrow.
Tonight, I want all of you tonight. Every night. For all we
scoot over to that one to get that one, but
Yeah.
they're so close together. Are
Yeah.
you going to both?
Physically, there's time
Yeah.
because I'll have to stay for the whole thing because I am
Yeah.
a caucus chair. Yeah.
How was it last time? Stand.
Gotcha.
For the, yeah.
Gotcha. What's your name?
Steph.
Steph.
Stephanie. What about yourself?
Rowdy Templar.
Rowdy time. Hi, Rowdy. Lovely to meet you here.
Thank you.
And you said, walk me through that process. What's that like?
Well, it's a matter of where I'm at. I'm a precinct chair, captain in my precinct. So, and I love President Trump. I have from the very first, when I first saw him in 2015. I like what he, a businessman who's looking to America work better for everybody. And there's an old saying that the business of America is we all thrive. People, they serve with other companies that serve those businesses, and that leads to people having incomes, homes to raise a family. That's the American dream.
There's easily 1,000 people here. Do you expect a bigger turnout this year to previous?
It will, absolutely, because people have seen what President Trump accomplished, and with all the media against them, the liberal, I call it, because they're putting people to sleep. They're not paying attention to what actually is happening that's benefiting President Trump to accomplish of the media, but was able to get.
And so, what's this process of the caucus? How does that work?
Okay, so a caucus is a meeting of, people within a definite area, rural and town, and so there'll be a little bit of business on how, and what you get is a colored ballot, and then you write the name and that you want. So people will speak on behalf of their candidate. Everybody will get a chance to speak for their candidate that's supporting one. The vote. The votes will be counted right in front of everyone, and there'll be 3 people checking probably. And so that way that night, we'll know who won in Iowa. It'll be
Sure of that.
about it. It's far ahead of the polls. Other and other issues, but President Trump did those things. You know, he's already accomplished and was working on all they can do is try to, you know.
So what message would you have for Iowa and those coming to the caucus?
Well, I absolutely support President Trump. We have I call it a patriotic duty to all the other states know, because they're not going to have that retail we get to meet and others. And so, and a message out of Iowa, the 1, 2, 3 candidates that pay attention. Iowa's paying attention to them. These are the candidates we want, that we chose, and then from there, it'll whittle down the numbers quite a bit. And that's the process. Iowa doesn't necessarily pick the winner, but the winner's always one of those Iowa picks.
So what do you expect President Trump to speak about?
For instance, I'm sure he's going to address the need for us to really be supportive, to really send that message. And then also some of the key issues. And some of those key issues had to do with our rights. He's being attacked. He's being charged for doing what? Speaking. We have a right of free speech in America. That's constitutional. That's the First Amendment. And if we don't have that right, and if it's not being enforced, and in fact the government is implementing tactics to take away those rights, we no longer have those rights.
Iowa is fairly leaning towards Trump. It always has been, right?
Oh, yeah. Nationwide. Trump is way ahead nationwide. I feel bad for Ron DeSantis, but he just ran and won as governor. He should have been on Florida, and any free time, if he would have been out campaigning for President Trump, it would have put him in good stead for 2028. Because President Trump's going to win in 2024, and I'm not saying that as a bias. It's quite obvious. He won, except for the fraudulent elections, because that changed and went for Biden. They had stopped counting ballots, and they introduced fraudulent ballots. You know, and you can talk around that all you want, but when there's cheating, we, the people of Iowa, for instance, were deprived of our vote. We voted for Trump. Other states would have gone for Trump, didn't, and we get Biden, and look at the mess we're in this country.
So you're saying you expect Trump to win the primary. What do you expect, if he has to face off, say, with Biden?
Oh, if President Trump faces Biden, it's a slam dunk. Biden can't stand up and scratch his own head. You know, he can't. He has no ability to communicate, walk on his feet. He has no core beliefs. Basically, it's shown in the last few years that the Democrats want to destroy this country. It's like they hate America. They hate the fact that the people are supposed to be in charge. The Constitution puts that way. Our legislature is us. They represent us. And they're not only to do our bidding, but to stay within the confines of the Constitution.
And as you said, the country is almost like a business, or it could be run like a business. So
well, what has to happen is the government needs to do the least it can do so businesses can thrive. The more that they use, for instance, EPA, other regulations to prevent, for instance, oil drilling, fracking, what have you, which Biden has done, which he had no constitutional or do any of those things, or to stop the border wall. That was law. So was fracking, so was developing oil in Anwar. That was law, passed by the legislature, signed by a president. Authority to stop that. That is what's causing such a hardship in this country. High-priced fuel has fed inflation. And by the way, the Fed chairman and the Federal Reserve raising interest rates is adding to the cost of living. It itself is inflationary. Try to buy a house instead of 2.5% for 7%. and look at the payment difference. You know,
These are interesting times that we live in, to say the least.
sad times. Sad times.
We will have to see how it all pans out, but certainly it's a very important election coming up.
That's why people are really engaged. They're really engaged because they realize this is a last-ditch effort to stop what's going on.
Well, great to hear your thoughts today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Stephanie. My pleasure.
Cheers. See you. All right. So, just speaking there with a voter and hearing all about their stance on why they're here to support Trump, and we'll hear so many more, hopefully from the other voters who are here, and we'll keep you tuned into that as the day progresses.
start talking.
up the street, it's a place there called the YMCA. They can start you back on your way. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything from your mental enjoy. You can hang out with the boys. YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Young man, there's no need to feel down. Young man, pick yourself off the ground. YMCA. It's fun to the YMCA. Young man, are you listening to me? Young man, what do you wanna be? YMCA. You'll find it at the YMCA. No man, young man, put your pride on the shelf. YMCA. And just go to the YMCA. Not working hard. Yeah, right. Picture that with a Kodak. Or better yet, square. Take a picture of me with a Kodak. Took my life from negative to positive. I just want. And tonight, let's enjoy life. Pitbull, Naya, Neo. That's right.
I want all of you tonight. Give me everything tonight. For all we know, we might not get tomorrow. Let's do it tonight. Let's do it tonight. Grab somebody sexy, tell them, hey, give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight. Give me everything
Take
tonight.
advantage of the night. Cause tomorrow I'm off to do battle, perform. Excuse me, and I might drink a little more than I should tonight. And I might take you home with me. Cause baby, I'ma make you feel so good tonight. Cause we might not get tomorrow.
Everything tonight. For all we know, we might not get tomorrow. Let's do it tonight. Let's do it tonight. It's sexy, tell 'em, hey, give me everything. Give me everything. Give me everything tonight.
Reach for the stars. Even ladies up on top of the world. Think about it. Cause if you slip, I'm gonna fall on top of your girl. When I'm in the Masons, baby, and it ain't no secret. My family's from Cuba, but I'm an American. I don't get money like put it on my life. I make it feel right, baby. Darling. Excuse me, and I might drink a little more than I should tonight. And I might take you if I could tonight. Baby, I'ma make you feel so good tonight. Might not get tomorrow.
I want all of you tonight. Give me everything tonight. For all we know, we might not get tomorrow. Let's do it tonight. Let's do it tonight.
said one more time. This is a man's world. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. You see, man made the cars to take us over the roads. Man made the train carry the heavy loads. Man made the electric light take us out of the dark. Man made a boat for the water like Noah made the ark. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing, nothing without a woman or a girl. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girls and a baby boys. Man make them happy, 'cause man make them toys. And after man make everything he can, man makes money to buy from other man. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing, nothing without a woman or a girl. Oh, how a man needs a woman. A man got to have a woman. He needs a woman or a girl. He needs a woman. Man makes everything he can, but a woman makes a better man. Man needs a woman. Man think about anything above, but money can't buy him love. Face the fact. You gotta face the fact. Man needs a woman. He needs a woman or a girl. Oh! Oh! Man needs a woman. He needs a woman. Body, body, wanna feel my body, baby. Such a thrill, my body, yeah, yeah. Wanna touch my body, baby. It's too much, not too much, my body, yeah, yeah. Check it out, my body, baby. Don't stop my body, yeah, yeah. Talking about my body, well, turn it out.
There's a poem by William Ernst Henley. It's called Invictus. It goes, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horrors of the shade, but yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, nor how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of our soul. President Trump is the master of his fate. He is the captain of his soul, and he will save the soul of this nation. This is the first time a president has been to Jackson County, and without further ado, I want to welcome the 45th and the 47th president of this great nation, Donald J. Trump.
The men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
From the lakes of Minnesota.
Let's listen to that song.
Across the plains of Caucus, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, I want to thank you very much. You know, this was supposed to be a very small little gathering. They said they've never seen anything like it here. It's they actually talk like this is a small part, and a lot of people don't show up. But boy, they showed up today. We broke every record, and this is really friends. We're doing a big speech later, but this is an intimate gathering. This was supposed to be a very intimate. This is a little bit intimate, but it is intimate. But this is a gathering of people that have been so supportive, and we're going to get out there and we're going to get out that vote, that caucus vote, which is very important. And, you know, last time I was leading, I was beating everybody, but they didn't do the caucus thing too well. And I learned a lot. We went to New Hampshire. We knocked them dead. We did very well here. We came in second. It was my only second. I don't like second, though. Then we won the race against the Democrats. That's a big one, right? We won the race, but we won it against beautiful Hillary. See, I call her beautiful now. Because we used the word crooked for somebody else. You know who that is, right? That's a very accurate description. But we ended up winning, but I learned so much during the process. This is the first race, and I'll never forget my first race ever in politics, because I wasn't a politician. I like to think of myself not as a politician now. But I came into Iowa, and I came in second out of 18, right? So we had 18. I came in second. They said, Trump suffers a major defeat. That was the beginning with the fake news. Trump suffered. I came in second, and you know, normally people would be thrilled to come in at that position, and honestly, they didn't have a good group, and now we have a group like we've never had before. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So I remember my daughter Ivanka. She was in Des Moines, a big area, and she was in Des Moines with by herself. She was waiting, and she was waiting for these people to come in, because, you know, you have to have a big staff, and they come in, and you talk about how wonderful Trump is and all this. But Ivanka calls me, Daddy, they don't have anybody here, the company that did the job. They weren't so hot. They don't have anybody here, Daddy, but I'll take it. But we did, you know, pretty well. Then we went on to win the state against Hillary, and we won the state the second time, and we won it big. In fact, the second time in the overall election, we got millions and millions of more votes than we did in the first election. We were told, all of us were told, that if you got the same number of votes, 63 million, as we got in 16, that the election would be over. But we got like 12 million, a lot. We don't even know, because nobody knows, because nobody understands what the hell happened with that election. But we're not letting it happen again, that I can tell you. We're not going to let that happen again. Millions more votes. It was very interesting. I had a meeting with one of the big papers, New York Times, actually, They said, what happened the second time? Well, we did much better. Well, what do you mean you did better? We got millions more votes, millions and millions more votes. And they said, yeah, that's sort of right when you think about it, I guess, right? But we're going to do something that's historic now, and we're going to bring our country back from the dead. Our country is dying. It's dying. When you look at what's happening at the border, when you look at all the things that are going on, our country is in such serious shape. So I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Special day. It's a special place. We're going to be back 5 or 6 times in the next period of, think of it. We're talking about 4 months. Can you believe it? When it was 4 years, I said, that's a long time. Now we start in 4 months. You're the first. I kept you first, by the way. I hope you know that, because people like to take credit. People like to take credit. There's only one person that can take credit. I kept you first. And as you know, the Democrats didn't do that. But we'll worry about that later. We want to get through the caucus. We want to get through it right away. And we want to win it by numbers bigger than we won it even the last time, if that's possible. So thank you all. In less than 4 months from now, we're going to win the Iowa caucuses in a historic landslide. I think it's going to be a landslide. You see what's going on with the polling. We've been like a rocket ship. We've been going like this. And the polls have been incredible, both against the Republicans and against the Republicans, we're up 60 points, 60. Think of it. Who the hell ever thought that was going to happen so quickly? They crashed and burned. They crashed and burned, but we're up 60. Thank you. I love you too, even though it's not generally my thing. It's not generally my thing when a guy screams out, I love you. But that's okay. We love you all. But in the polls, we're up massive numbers. We'll talk about them in a couple of minutes. And we may take a few questions from people, too, if you want. I always say that. You know, if I don't want to really take questions, I say at the very end, and now we'll take questions. Everybody's like, oh, I don't have time. When you say it at the beginning, people are thinking the whole damn speech, and they're thinking. But we're going to take a few questions. I think you can handle it. They have some mics around here, so we'll handle it. And you think Joe Biden does that? Well, from a group of people. We'll take some questions. I did Meet the Press this weekend. They got fantastic ratings. I call it Meet the Fake Press. And they had fantastic rating. And it was one question after another, after another, after another, and went through his whole hour. And Kristen Welker, and she was, you know, nice, although kept interrupting me because she wasn't loving some of the answers I was giving, you know. But you loved the answers I was giving. But the beautiful thing, they said, I sat down for an hour, and then I did a Megyn Kelly one, and she had, you know, just, boy, she became nastier all of a sudden. She was pretty nasty, didn't you think? Anybody that watched it. But they both asked many questions, many questions, and I could have gone on for hours, but, you know, there's a period of time, and you say, that's it. So they had like an hour. They had an hour and a half. And it would be, I think, 32 questions on 32 different subjects. And Biden can't do that. Biden can't. Maybe one question where he goes, okay, I'll take a question from, wait. I want ABC Ruth. And then she gives him a question, and then he reads the answer. Here's the answer. No, we're this country. We have to get this country straightened out. That's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. I want to thank my friend Congressman Wesley Hunt. He really is. He's a star. Where is he? And his incredible wife, who happens to come from the area, as you know. But Wesley, thank you both very much, and thank all three of you. Thank all three, because they have their beautiful new son. And thank you very much for coming up. This is a great honor. You're a very respected guy. And Jackson County Republican Chairwoman Darla Schulpel. Where's Darla? Where is Darla? She's here. Hi, Darla. Oh, very, very beautiful. You look great. Thank you, Darla. I heard you're doing a fantastic job, everybody tells me. Jackson County Attorney John Keyes. John, you around? Hi, John. Great. Central casting for an attorney. That's a good thing. My senior advisor, Representative Bobby Kaufman. Where's Bobby? Bobby is doing. Hi, Bobby. Oh, you gave yourself the worst seat in the house. Look, he's over by the wall. He knows how to take care of the customer, right, Bobby? Say hello to your father. His father's fantastic, too. State Representative Steve Bradley is here. Steve, thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, Steve. And a very special thanks to Luana Stoltenberg. You know, where is she, by the way? You know, there's a man that's in charge of NATO named Stoltenberg. You know that, right? And he's the Secretary General, and he loves Trump because I was able, you know, we were supporting NATO, and we were giving so much money disproportionately. And they're representing, you know, they're over there, we're over here. It's much more important for them. And I got them hundreds of billions of dollars in pay-up money because they were not paid. They were NATO countries, they were not paid. We were protecting all of these European countries, and for years and years they weren't paying, or they were paying not a good amount of money. But the name was Stoltenberg, same name as yours. You are so fantastic. She said, I pray for you every day. I write a letter to you every single day. Have you gotten them? I'm saying, yeah, sure. No. But she said, I pray and I do this. And I said, you are incredible. And she just gave me her endorsement, and she's highly respected here. So I want to thank you very much. And that Stoltenberg is very good, too, I have to tell you. He's the Secretary General, and he's been great. He said, you know, President Trump came in here, and he left, and he got hundreds of, I mean, we just got hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in back. I call it delinquent, like in the real estate business, right? We call it delinquent. They were delinquent. Almost every country. 7 weren't. It's a total of 28. But most of them were. Some were totally delinquent. They didn't pay for a long time. And he said, you know, he left, and he got the money pouring in by the billions. And we ended up getting hundreds of billions of dollars from these countries, so we didn't have to pay. And we didn't have to pay disproportionately. And the money they have now is the money that I raised them. He said, you know, Bush would come in and Obama would come in. They'd all come in. They'd make a speech. They'd leave, and that would be the end of it. They wouldn't say, I came in the first time, saw that this was wrong, came in the second time about 6 months later. I said, you got to pay up. He said, nobody ever said that. So it was good. So I appreciate very much, and thank you, darling. We appreciate it very much. There are those that say this is the greatest political movement of all time. I think it is, MAGA. You know, when Biden criticizes MAGA, I say, no, it means make America great again. What's to criticize? You know, how do you criticize MAGA? They go, oh, those MAGA people, those MAGA people. Anybody that says that doesn't love our country. It's called Make America Great Again. But this is the greatest movement of all time. You know? Yeah. You know, over the years, and I was not in politics, while I was on the other side, like writing checks for everybody that I liked that was running, but I wasn't in per se. But I'd watch very carefully because I found it fascinating. And over the years, you'd watch these people that sometimes they'd win like an election, come in second, come in third, fourth, and they'd be famous if they came in second, third, fourth in a primary. And they would go along a lifetime, I mean, literally a lifetime, and they'd become, you know, successful people, and they'd be very respected politically. And we came in first last time in virtually in every state. We came in first within the Republican Party, and then we did phenomenally in the election. But 2016, we won almost all of them also against professionals. You know, we had 18 people. There were senators, for the most part, senators and governors. They weren't stupid people. And we came in, and this was a movement that nobody's ever seen before. You know, when that happens, if you almost win a state, you become some. Pat Buchanan's an example in New Hampshire. He came in, he did well, he did very well, and he's a terrific guy in many ways, right? We all sort of know him. And he did really well. I think he came in second, and, you know, he had a wonderful political career. We came in first in almost every state, think of it, as a group. First, and we won. And then we won the election against beautiful Hillary. Beautiful Hillary, beautiful woman. So it's pretty amazing. So it's the greatest movement of all time, and in this country, and I think probably largely beyond this country. But if we win this time, this will be at a level that's never been done, much bigger than had we done it the traditional way, which we did do, but we just didn't get credit for it. But we did do it. We'll win it 3 times. I mean, that's the way I look at it. We'll win it 3 times. But this psychologically and in many other ways, and you understand the different ways, but because one of the things of taking this pause is it shows how bad they are. It shows how bad their policies are. You look at the border, you look at all of the things that are so horrible that are happening, and it shows how bad they are. And we'll be able to do things and get things fixed in this country that probably you couldn't have really done politically or otherwise if you did it the traditional way. So it'll be something really spectacular. It's going to be, I think it's going to be amazing. And I will tell you, so we've run twice. I've never seen the spirit that we have this time. You're longing for the good old days with the economy ever and all those things. But at $1.87. How about that? No, we had the great. Remember, I told you I made great deals. I don't even talk about China because of COVID, but I made one of the greatest deals ever with USMCA. But maybe the best was China, $50 billion. And you had to stay with me. The farmers, I'm talking about, mostly in this case, less the manufacturers. They were there anyway, but they were the most loyal people. Farmers were the most loyal people, and they said, "Sir, we're with you." I said, "I'm going to get you all sorts of subsidies from China." They said, "Sir, we don't want subsidies. We just want a level playing field." That was the only ones that told me that in 4 years in the White House. If I said, "I'm going to get you subsidies," because everybody would say, "Oh, give me the subsidies." I'll never forget, I had 36 farmers. They represented farmers from all over the country, a lot from Iowa. We were in the Oval Office in this gorgeous room, so beautiful, represented so many great things. Less so lately. There's not too many great things happening for our country lately. But they represented, and I said that to them. I said, I will work it so that you guys are going to be taking. And raised his hand and said, "So we don't want subsidy. We don't want a handout. We want a level playing field, and nobody can beat us." And I said, what an unbelievable thing to say. It's the only time anybody said that, and that was the whole farm group. They all agreed with it. They didn't want anything. They just wanted fairness because they were not treated fairly. It was horrible happening to them, including with NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. And it was really horrible. And I then made USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada, and you know how good that is. They want to renegotiate the deal now. That's always a good sign. But we took it from the worst deal to the best deal. And NAFTA was probably the worst trade deal ever made. And USMCA is one of the best trade deals ever made in this country. And one of the other deals I made was with China. You're doing a lot of business with China. Now, they're not adhering to the contract anymore. I used to call every day. Are they adhering? Are they buying? Are they buying? Because it was $50 billion I had to buy. Misunderstood it. They said $15 billion. I said to Sonny Perdue, the Secretary of Agriculture, good guy, I said, how much have we been hurt, the farmers been hurt in this country by China trade practices? And he said, $7 billion over a period of 4 years. I said, that's a lot. All right, I'm going to get it back. And I got you $28 billion actually from China. That came from China. And many of the people in this room opened up very big checks, but I got it. Everybody thought that you can't even think about getting that. I got you $28 billion. I got hundreds of billions for the country, but I got $28 billion from the farmer because of the unfair trade practices with China. The fake news doesn't want to write about that, but it's a big deal. In fact, I always say, there's no way I lose Iowa, Nebraska, any of the farm states, because who the hell else would get $28 billion from China? People would say, don't even think about it. And I'm honored to have done it, too. I'm honored to have done it. But we did fantastically well, and we made this USMCA deal. And most people said you'd never be able to get rid of NAFTA because, you know, these other countries have a lot of power. They have people representing them or change a bad trade deal. We have the worst trade deal. We have a lot of bad trade deals. We got you open in Japan. We got you open in South Korea. We got you open in a lot of different places. But I got that done. They terminated NAFTA, which people said would be impossible, and we got the USMCA. So now when they want to renegotiate, which they're trying to right now, don't let, but we have a very short time left now when you think about it. You know, we're talking about a very, very short time. November of next year, we're like Wow, more than a year. But a lot of bad things can happen in a year. Tremendously bad things can happen in a year. And a lot of stupid decisions can be made. Yesterday I watched at the United Nations, and I still haven't gotten over the $6 billion for 5 people. $6 billion. They freed up $6 billion for people. 5, we got 5. It was a hostage swap. They got 5, we got 5. That was the good news. The bad news is they also got $6 billion, right? And you say, how the hell, who would do a deal like that? But they're all bad deals. They're all. So yesterday Biden was speaking, and comment on the speech. But he said one thing, that we got rid of our gas, we have gas weapons, and they're terrible, they're horrible, they're unbelievably lethal and powerful, but they're terrible. And he said that they basically ended all of it. They've gotten rid of them all. And then he sort of indicated that, sadly, other countries haven't followed suit. Of course they haven't followed suit. They haven't followed suit. You don't get rid of them first, you get rid of them last or simultaneously. So we got rid of this tremendous, horrible power that we need if other people have it, but other people didn't get rid. And I said, how stupid is this? How stupid is this? So it's gone from us, but other people have it. And it's just step by step, day by day. So with having these people in there, I mean, the only thing they're good at is cheating in elections. It's really true. In my opinion, they're professionals at cheating, and you got to watch those elections very carefully. Less so in your case because, you run a good ship, but in some of these states, it's just horrible when you look at it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, if you want to save America from the, I have a script here. So far, I haven't looked down at it. I'm saying, when am I going to look at this script? I have these brilliant speechwriters, and I tend not to use them too much, but it's better that way, isn't it? Isn't it nice when you have a president who doesn't have to read a script? Want to save them from Crooked Joe and the left, and get out and be patriots, and you're all patriots. Make sure that they're registered Republicans. Get out. You have to register Republicans. Get them out. Get your friends out. And 7 p.m. on Monday, January 15th. That's when it all begins, January 15th. On a Monday. It's a good, beautiful day. And you got to get them out 7 o'clock in the evening. That's when it starts. And it's a beautiful day. In fact, I think I'll come up for it. Should I come up? Yeah, I'll come up. I'll get them out with you. I think I'll come up. I think I will. So I'll tell my geniuses over there, we'll come up. But we're asking for a commitment, everybody, to, whatever you can, get 3 people at a minimum and come out, bring them out with you. Because caucuses, you can do that. With the regular elections, it's a little bit stranger. But with a caucus, you can do that and get 3 people at a minimum and get out. And let's really start it off with a bang. They're losing in Iowa by like 35, 40 points. Ron DeSanctimonious, who, remember, was against ethanol, totally against it, wanted to end it totally. And that would be devastating, frankly, for your farmers. It would be devastating for the farmers. But they wanted to end it. And I was the champion of it. I was the one that kept it going. And there was a lot of competition to not do it. And, yeah. I got it for, remember, 12 months. I did the whole thing on ethanol. I became the king of ethanol, but he wanted to end it. One thing, a politician, like a guy like him, he comes in, when somebody wants to end, or when somebody wants to end Social Security and go up to 70, minimum age 70, which is a big jump, when they want to do that early, they may change their attitude for an election, like come and say, oh, Social Security, but he voted through. He wanted to cut that. He's a disciple of Paul Rhino. Do you know who Paul Rhino is? Paul Ryan. But he's a disciple. And when they want to do it early, they may change for an election. They may get away. But when they change, and I've been very consistent. You can read those books from years ago. I've been very consistent how we on trade and everything else. And I changed so much of that. And then this administration back. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But when you want to look at how somebody is, they go back to what their original thought is what their thought is. and they wanted to do big damage to Social Security. They wanted to raise that age to 70, and they wanted to do big damage to Medicare. You can't have that. You don't deserve that. There are other things we can do that are far better, where we can do a real job, but you deserve it. You get to a certain age, you deserve it. We delivered record increase in real family income. There's never been anything like it. Went up $6,000 a year. Think of that. With no inflation. We didn't have inflation. We knew how to take care of inflation. Look, inflation was caused because they stopped drilling, they stopped the energy, and that caused the inflation. Energy is so big. If you make donuts, if you make cake, if you're a lawyer, if you're heating and you're trucking, and no matter what you do, energy is so big, and it is now out of control. They did it fake. We did a big thing with the strategic reserves and got them full, and then right now they're the lowest they've ever been. They've emptied millions and millions of barrels of an election passed where they could keep the numbers very high, but at least they weren't at $5 and $6. So just today, gasoline hit $5 again, and it's going to probably go up. It'll go up. There's no reason. Yeah, it is true. Drill, baby, drill. I gave that answer in CNN. What would you do? Well, start off with drill, baby, drill, and the place went crazy. And it was the CNN audience. No, but they don't want to pay either, so it's crazy. But we had it down to numbers. Actually, we had to raise it up a little bit because the oil companies, they were all going to go out of business. They never produced so much. They did a great job. And, they did a great job for themselves, to be honest. But it was, we had it down below $2. And for a little while, we had it down to $1.50. But that's where we had to say, got to go up a little bit. But now it's hitting $5 again. And we're not going to let it happen, because that is what caused inflation, and inflation is called a country buster. When you have inflation, you can go back 200 years. Look at Germany, look at countries, what they went through with inflation. They were destroyed. I mean, literally, they were destroyed. They had to start all over again. And we've had the biggest inflation we've had in 52 years, so that's a lot of years, and it's been a lot of suffering. I see bacon is up 6 times, bacon. Who would think, right? So people aren't ordering bacon. Then they say, oh, it came down a little bit. Yeah, they're not ordering it, which is not good for you either, by the way. But they're not ordering it. But so many food products now are going up and through the roof. So we're going to stop it. And I just want to tell you that it's an honor to have been able to control inflation. And it wasn't that, because so much of it has to do with the energy sector. And we were going to be we were actually energy independent. Nobody possible. We're energy independent. Just think of that. We didn't need, for the first time ever, we didn't need anybody's energy. We didn't have to guard, didn't have to do anything. We had all, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation. Think of it. And just think of how. So under our leadership, we built almost 500 miles of wall. They like to say, oh, it was really 58 miles. No. You know what they do? They take, this is how vicious they are. And you see the wall. You see miles as far as the eye can see. We built almost, and I had to do it because we have Mitch McConnell working with the Democrats all the time, which is a horror show. Horror show. So the military, I said, this is the vision of our country, out of the military. And it was action for the military, and the military agreed with it. But what they did is, because they always try, they're misinformation, disinformation, almost the same thing, by the way, close. Anybody want to give me a definition of the difference? Because it's close enough, we won't waste our time. But what happens is, if there was a 2x4, 50 years old, laying there rotted, where there used to be a little wall, a little barricade or something, they'd say, oh, well, he didn't build a wall there. That was a renovation, even though we'd throw that junk out. We'd take down like a 1-foot wall of wood that was gone and just literally gone, and take it away. And then we'd put up 30-foot and 40-foot walls, right? All steel, everything those walls, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to have concrete plank. But the Border Patrol are fantastic people, and ICE. These are fantastic people. They don't get enough credit. And they say, sir, you have to You see through it. You have to see who's on the other side. So that went a plank, you know, like from a parking garage. You can do 60 feet, 50 feet plank. But you just try and keep the graffiti off as possible, right? Because the graffiti begins. I hate to see it. But that's what I wanted to do. But we had meetings with them, and we actually had mountain coming in and climbing different things. And they were able to get a plank easy, and they had a much harder time doing this. But they also needed, they wanted outside, they wanted concrete, grade concrete, and rebars inside the concrete. So you have 3 different substances for cutting. It's very hard to cut, very, very hard. So I did what they wanted. And then they wanted, you know, the plate. Do you ever notice the plate on top? I wanted to leave it off. I don't like it visually. But that's called an anti-climb plate. It makes it much harder to climb the wall. And some of these people, gotta say, they are athletes. They climb a wall like and they have 200 pounds of drugs on their back. They're going up like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. We had people show us things that I would say are pretty impressive. But that's an anti-climb bar, they call it. A very important element to stop people from climbing over the wall. 100 miles of it. And then we're all getting prepared. We had it all bought. And the 200 miles because we needed more. We did what we said we were going to do. But then we couldn't do more, and we had it all bought. And we had the election was ended and rigged, by the way, and we didn't take over. And what they did, and this is the first time I realized they were serious because I thought they were playing games. I realized they didn't want to build security. They wanted to have an open border so that people can come in from other prisons, from prisons all over the world, from mental institutions and insane asylums all over the world. People coming in from all over the world, not just the 4 or 5 countries that we think of our neighbors as neighbors. We have people all over the world. We had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border, I believe, in the history of the world. I don't believe there's any third world country that has a border like we have. And I think the real number is going to be when you really add it up, and I think if the numbers ever come out, I think they're going to have 15 million people by year would have come into this country under this and everything else. So I think it's a terrible. But when we get in, we'll be. But we have Tom Homan. We have all the greatest people. We have such great people. You know, if Biden went to the beach, you know, he goes to the beach all the time, right? Do you ever notice? Somebody's working him. He's got these consultants, and I think they think he looks good in a bathing suit. And he doesn't look very bad, very, very bad advice. And when you look at it, and all he had to do is if he went to the beach and didn't do anything, you would have the strongest border you've ever had right now. But they decided to get rid of, stay in Mexico. We had a policy in Mexico, remain in Mexico. How good is that? And we had to do that with Mexico. You think that was easy? I went to the, we need coming over, and these came up with that name, I think. Thousands and thousands of people heading up. But they knew, yeah, sit down, everybody. You have a cup? Sit down. Sit down. Whoever. That's a little bit than we anticipated by about triple. But all of these people, and I said, remember, he didn't to pay for 28 soldiers free of building the wall. That was more money than paying for the wall. They were there for a long time, and they didn't. They're not politically correct soldiers either. These are soldiers that, you know, and they stopped it. And anyway, so that was sort of interesting. The State Department, a woman that works at the State Department, a good woman. She's worked really covering Mexico, I think, for 20, 25 years. And I told her, I said, we're going to have to get Mexico to give us soldiers. Well, they won't do it. I said, yeah, they'll do it, and they're going to be free, too. Sir, they won't do that. And then I said, so remain in Mexico. I want the soldiers. We want catch and release ended. It's catch and release, but we release them in Mexico, not here. You know, catch and release is called, we catch them, we find out they're criminals, and then we release them into our country. We say, come back in about 5 years for the trial, okay? Nobody ever comes back. No smart one comes back. A couple of them came back, but not too smart. But nobody ever comes back. So we had to get rid of that. But we had to go to Mexico. And I said to the top representative right under the president, and the president, I like him a lot. He's a socialist, but I like him a lot. I can't have everything, right? And I said, we want 28,000 soldiers along our border because you're sending a lot of people over, and we want your soldiers to protect us, and we're not going to pay anything. And he laughed at me. No, we're not going to do that, sir. Oh, sir. I mean, what a stupid request. How you would not? And I said, you're going to do it. I mean, 100%. Well, what do you mean 100%? I said, no, 100% you're going to do it. No, we will not do that, sir. What's next? I said, next is remain in Mexico. People can't come into our country. They have to remain in Tijuana. They have to remain in. You have to see hundreds of thousands of people were backed up. Not in our country. They were remaining in Mexico. All of a sudden, Mexico got stronger on their borders, okay, because they didn't want this, because it was remain in Mexico. And he said, no, we can't do that. We couldn't do anything. And I said, here's the story. On Monday morning at 7 o'clock, we're going to charge you a 25% tariff on any car. You know, they took 32% of our car industry over the years, not during my years, by the way, but they took 32% of our car industry. So we're going to have any car, any product that's made in Mexico, when it comes across the border, we're charging you a 25% tariff. And I have the legislation right here. I'm going to sign it. I have the right to do that. And he said, you won't do that. I said, no, 100% I will, 100%. And I'm going to sign it right now. He said, sir, may I have 5 minutes? I'd like to call my country. He calls the country, comes back. Sir, it would be a great honor to supply you with 28,000 soldiers free of charge. So I got 28,000. 28,000 soldiers. You know, 28, it's pretty good, right? Another little quick story. Should I tell you one other quick story? Yes? I mean, we're all having a good time. What the hell? I'm late for, as they say, the big venue. This is a big venue to me. This is a beautiful venue. This is our people. But we had another case where France was going to charge American companies a tremendous tax for the privilege of doing business in France. And I said, I can't take that. You're not going to do that. And I called in some of my great geniuses, and I said, you'd call them up and you tell them we're not doing it and negotiate it where they don't have to do it. They come back a week later. No, they've already pretty much done it. They passed legislation. They're going to charge American companies a very significant, very big tax. And that's bad for American companies. So I'm supposed to be guarding American companies and American jobs and everything else. So I say, go back. You have another day. Go back and get it ended. And they came back and they failed. They were unable to do Treasury. They just were not able to do it. And I said, I'll do it. And I called up Macron, who's a very nice guy. And I said, Mr. Macron, you remember me? Yes, I do. I do remember. His name is Emmanuel. I called up, I said, Emmanuel, listen, you're going to be charging our company significant money to do business in France. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. It has taken a long time for us to work. Oh, that's fine. I think it's wonderful. So here's the story. If you go into this, and if this thing takes effect on Monday, we're going to have something that's of equal effect. Every bottle of wine and champagne that you send into this country, we're going to put a tariff on for 100%. And he said to me, you cannot do that. That would be terrible. I said, no, what you're doing is terrible. So you can call me back within 5 minutes, but I've already signed it. On Monday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, every bottle of wine and every bottle of champagne gets taxed at 100%. And we're going to make a hell of a lot more money than you're going to make with your tax. He calls me back 5 minutes later. He says, we have decided to drop the tax on American companies. And there's so much. I mean, I could tell you these stories all day long. I could tell you all day long. So we fully rebuilt the military. We have now peace through strength. You would have never had Ukraine and Russia. Russia would never, even the Democrats admit that. And I used to talk to Putin about it. I'd say, you can't do it. You know, it was the apple of his eye, I will tell you. That I knew. But I made it the unapple of his eye because I said bad things are going to happen if you do that. And he didn't do it. He only started doing this after I was gone. All of a sudden you see troops building up. Would have never done it, but we stood very proudly with our friend and ally, the State of Israel, kept to my promise, recognized eternal capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And not only did we have it designated capital, we got it built. I got it built. I took over a building. You all heard that story. I took over a building. They were going to spend $2 billion building a ridiculous building. They didn't even have the location. They had a plan without a location, which never works very well for architecture and architects. But I said, do we have a site? They came back sir, we do. We have many sites in Jerusalem. I said, any of them with a building on it that we could convert? Yeah, we have one that's fantastic. The best site had a building on it. It was a closed building, but it was structurally very strong, very sound. And they got back to me and they said, my people, they said, we can do it for $400,000, sir. I said, first time I've ever done this in my life. I said, you know, honestly, that sounds too cheap. Sounds too cheap. I said, let's make it a little more, because that's crazy. So it was $2 billion. We got it down to $400,000. I said, make it 5, and we made it 5. We built it for $500,000. A friend of mine is in an office building in New York, very rich guy, very successful guy. And every time I walk into his office, he talks about Jerusalem stone. He goes, look at the stone. It's so beautiful. I say, if I hear it again, now all of a sudden I'm in Jerusalem, right? So I say to my people, there's a very expensive stone. It's called Jerusalem stone. People are very impressed by it. It's a beautiful beige stone like sand. Can we use it? Is it expensive? Sir, you're in Jerusalem. We can get it for nothing. I said, let's use it. So we did the whole building in Jerusalem stone, and it's beautiful. We got it built. So not only did we get it designated, but we got it built, and I recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. That was a big thing. They've been trying to get it done for years. And best of all, I got the Iran nuclear deal terminated, but unfortunately this administration did not take advantage of it. They didn't take advantage of it, and bad things are happening. They're building away a nuclear weapon. This would have never happened. We would have had a deal within 2 weeks after the election. We would have had a deal with Iran, and everybody would have been happy. So with your vote in January, I'll fight like no one else, and it's very important. It's so important, and so important that you are first, because I believe in this state very much, and I believe in the people. I have so many friends here. We'll totally obliterate the deep state. It was really deep. We got rid of Comey. We got people, but it was deeper than anyone thought. And then we had the COVID, the dust from China. China virus came in. We did a great job with that. The stock market, when we turned it over, the stock market was actually higher than it was just prior to COVID or China virus coming in. So we did an amazing job in so many ways. We haven't been getting the kind of love on that one. We get a lot of love on the economy and a lot of things, but they never gave us one of the big things. It was incredible. Don't forget, when that came in at a level that was nobody knew what the hell was happening. Thousands of people were dying in China. That's all they knew. And they knew something bad was going on, but nobody knew exactly what it was. We did a great job on that with the ventilators and all of the therapeutics and Regeneron and all of the things we did, the robes, everything. We did things that nobody thought were very short, and we supplied the states with all that stuff because the states were all empty. I said they're cupboards, but we did that, and we did, so many other things. We rebuilt our military. So much, so fast that nobody's seen it. And say it was the most successful 4 years and successful presidencies by far, ever. So, and one other thing for you, I'll tell you, I will ban the critical race theory and far left ideology from our school. And you've been hearing me say this. We'll keep men in sports if that, because how ridiculous is that, right? Who would even think, I mean, you go back 10 years, if you ever said a thing, people would say, why were you saying that? How crazy is it? And they actually tried, 2 weeks ago they had a weightlifting contest, and the weights were set for, I think it was 18 years. Women are trying to break it, and they put like a quarter of an ounce on each end of the. Wesley's a strong guy; he could do this, but they put like a quarter of an ounce on the record. I think by 6% or something like that. He walks up, weightlifter, not a successful one. As a man, he wasn't as successful, but he was a weightlifter. and he came in and he shattered the record. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. The swimmers, you got to see these new times that are being established. And I tell the story. The woman looks left. This person that's like a giant, and she's saying, "Oh, with a wingspan bigger than the Still Chamberlain." Does anybody know Wilbur Still? And I always say, and we say it jokingly, of course, but she suffered grave injuries, windburn, because he went by her so fast that she's still suffering massive windburn. No, the whole thing is ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous. But I would coach, if I were a coach, if I had that ambition to be a basketball coach, let's say, I'd go, I'm not a fan of LeBron James. I'd go out, I'd get him. I'd say, LeBron, would you like to be a woman? And I'd get a few other guys. I'd say, would you like to be a woman, anybody? I'm going to establish a team. We would go undefeated for many, many years. Can you imagine that? But the great silent majority is rising like never before. And under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. I used to say that in 2016, and then I didn't have to say it. You know, another thing I didn't have to say, I used to talk about the border. We had a very bad border in 2016 when I was running. Border was a big part of the election. And in 2020, I couldn't talk about it because it was a solved problem. I used to say, we solved the border. And, you know, people have short memories. I'd say, we solved the border problem, and people didn't even remember they had a problem. So I couldn't even talk about it. But in 2016, the biggest thing, I about it all the time, build the wall, all the things that I did, that I ended up doing, and we solved the border problem. So in 2020, I didn't have that. Who would think that now it's possibly the number one problem we have? I mean, when you look at our cities being over and everything else. So we'll get these people out. Because this is not sustainable by any country. No country could do it. No country is that rich. It's just not sustainable. With your help, your love, and your vote, we will make America first. It's about America first. I mean, these people want China first, want other countries first, Ukraine first. They want all this stuff. We give everyone comes over from Ukraine, they walk out with $25 billion. We want to help Ukraine, but, you know, Europe right now is up $5 billion, and we're up to $200 billion. Now, one thing we all know is that it affects Europe a hell of a lot more than it affects us. So why are they not going with equalization? So they have to eat them of us if you add it all up. You add all the countries, it's got about the same economy as we have. So they have a lot of money, Europe, but they don't pay the money because people, you know, so. But remember, none of this can happen. None of what we're talking about. Our country's so good. We're going to make it better than it was before. And we've learned, and I've learned. I also know everybody now in Washington. When I got there, the rhinos are recommending people, all this. We know so many people that I know the good ones. I know the smart. I know more people. I know the tough ones, the great ones. I know the people. I know the rhinos. I got to know the rhinos. I got to know a lot of rhinos. You know what that is, right? Republican in name only. That's true. But we got plenty of them, but there are fewer than there were. But you got to show up on Monday, January 15th. Defeating crooked Joe Biden is imperative because this, I don't know if it can take another. I want to know the truth. Okay? You know, we still have a year. I don't know that it takes another year, but we have no choice in that. So go to Donald J. Trump, ia.jtrump.com, and sign up to help us organize what I will call the Victory for the Ages. This is going to be bigger. You know, I used to talk about 2016, that 2016 is the biggest election of our lifetime, and I meant it 100%. Say it in 20. We had a great thing going. We had a problem with COVID, but we had a great thing going. We had strong borders, nobody coming into it, very few people. Drugs were down to an all-time low. People coming in were down to an all-time low, and only getting better. If they left it alone, it would have been a beautiful thing, but they didn't do that. But we are going to make this country stronger and better and more beautiful than ever before. We're going to make it better than ever before, but we have to win this election. So I just really appreciate everybody in this room. You've been my friends right from the beginning, most of you, and I recognize so many like you. I recognize But we have to go out and we still have to win something. You know, we have a lot of great people watching. It's going to be very hard for them to cheat. They always cheat. That's what they do, is they cheat. That's the only thing they're good at. They're no good at policy. They're no good at borders. Think of it. Who wants an open border? Who wants high taxes? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants not to be able to? Who wants education that's a disaster? We're going to close the Department of Education, move it back to the states, by the way. All right? So I really appreciate you being here, and you are a group of people, and we just wanted to make this stop, but you're the people that are going to really make it work. And we have phenomenal leadership with Alex and everybody else here. I just hope I hope we have a victory, because if we don't have a victory, I think it's finished. It's finished. I really think it's finished. That's how bad it is. Bad it is. You know, these leaders of other nations, China is very powerful. They're all very powerful, especially now with the weaponry. If you don't have the right leader, if you don't have smart leaders, your country's doomed. What they're allowing, like the speech he made yesterday, where he takes a vast sum of power in terms of a weapon and says he's terminated all of it. And then he's sad to say that the other countries haven't followed. Of course they haven't followed. Why? Because they're smart. Why would they follow? They want something for it. They want to do something. They want to get you to do it. You do it together, or you do it where they do it first. When you look at Afghanistan and that horrible withdrawal, the most embarrassing day in the life history of our country, the most stupid thing, where the soldiers are taken out first and everybody's stuck there, and we lost soldiers, and we have, to this day, many Americans probably living in hell right now. And we left back 85, I rebuilt the entire military. We left back $85 billion worth of equipment. I believe it was the most embarrassing day. Do you know that Afghanistan's one of the biggest arms dealers in the world right now? They're selling the stuff that we left for them. 70,000 trucks, 700,000 guns and rifles, 700,000. How we ever had so many in the first place is so crazy. But we're going to make our country greater than ever before. Thank you very much. We'll take a couple of quick questions, and then I'll question. Ma'am, go ahead. Hello.
Hi, welcome, President Trump.
Thank you.
Okay, so you kind of already answered my question a little bit, but my question was, when you become president again, what would the first thing you'll do to fix our current school system and even our current military that's only focusing on teaching woke gender ideology over learning the basics of life and history serving us?
So a good question, though. Some of it partially answered, but not all. With the military, immediately. I totally. And then in their first week, they reestablished it. It's crazy. They pay instructors hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Literally, they want our military to be woke. Not going to happen. You read in Hawaii where they had the horrible fire, where they have people going there, and before they bring them on board, they have to study woke for a week. Can you believe this? In other words, everyone's wanting to get back to their home, finding the bodies. It was such a tragedy. Too much anymore, but hell is going on over there, and they want to give them classes in essentially wokeness. Can you believe? So well, we'll end that very quickly. We will with the school. I think the schools are very important. We're going to bring our education department back. Now, if you look at our education, we pay more than any country in the world by 3 times. At the bottom of the list, we have a very bad. If a place like Iowa, as an example, if you could run your own and we give you just a percentage of the money, because yearly the money that they waste in Washington, number one, you love your students, you want your students, you know your students, the parents will be involved. That's the other thing, we're going to let the parents, because some of these school boards have become tyrannical. They've been horrible. But we're going to bring that back, and that's going to answer your question, because I think that we can have one of the best school systems in the world. Right now we have one of the worst. They basically rate 40 countries, and we're always at close to the bottom of the list, sometimes the bottom of the list, and spending more money than anybody else. So we're going to take care of all of your needs very quickly, and I think it's quickly. And one of the things we're doing, closing the border day 1 and starting drilling for oil. Okay? We're going to drill, baby, drill. Okay, do you have one over here? Yes, please.
Welcome to Iowa, President Trump.
Thank you very much.
Here's my question. I felt that the 2020 election was fraudulent. So what measures are being taken by the RNC to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
Okay, well, you're not the only one, because if you look at polls, many, many people, big percentage of the country felt it was. Many precautions, many law firms have been hired, a lot of work has been done, and beyond RNC, I mean, thrilled with them, obviously. You know, I was about your campaign. I left here early in the morning, and you go home, and you think you've done great. I had 7 rallies on the last day or two, 7. I don't know anybody's going to do 7 rallies, and they're big rallies, and they were full-scale rallies. And I left, and I said, we're going to win. And in the evening, I looked, and it was over. Well, Pennsylvania, all these states were doing so well. Then all of a sudden, they made adjustments and all this crap, and it was a whole thing. So they were able to do things with COVID. Oh, we can't go vote. We can't this. We can't that. Mail-in voting. We have a lot of great people involved. That's more than any. I don't want help in getting the vote. I only want help. It used to be called Election Day. Now it's called Election Period, because some of these things last for months, right? I said, that's all I want. I want people to work, because we went back and we did great. And then the vote comes in, and then it was looking great, and then all of a sudden this horrible thing happened. And by the way, it's all down. People know it. We had judges that didn't want to get involved. They were afraid. Everybody was afraid. They were afraid of the subject. It's a disgrace. What happened to our country is a total disgrace. Okay, disgrace. So, and look at the result. I mean, look at the result. I mean, practically every problem that we talked about today wouldn't have happened. Ukraine wouldn't have happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. I mean, so many of these things that we talk about today, we weren't thinking about. Look at the supply chain. Who ever heard of a supply chain where people can't deliver? You couldn't get baby food. You couldn't get anything. The only thing you could get is all the drugs you wanted. You could get drugs. You could get cocaine. I wonder whose cocaine that was, by the way, in the White House. What about that deal? Packages of cocaine. And they said, well, we don't know. No, we don't know. And then when they went for the thing, everybody's there, fingerprints, all. It was not one fingerprint. Not one fingerprint, which is impossible. You can go to any place in this room, there's fingerprints all over the place, especially those cubicles. So we're going to be working very hard. That's my number one thing, much more so than campaigning, actually, is that they don't cheat on the election, because they will try, and they'll be successful to an extent, but we're not going to let them steal this election, because this country is going to fail. I tell you, I don't think the people of this country will allow it to happen either, because this country is on a very thin edge right now. Thank you very much for the question. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I want to thank you, President, for all that you've done. And a question I want to ask you is, I'm telling you, no man can endure what you have endured. Do you realize that God is behind you and strengthening you? Do you realize that?
Well, I appreciate what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, too. It's been a terrible thing in so many ways. The only thing, the great gratitude I get, I'm looking at polls now where we're 50 points, 60 points up, among all these people. And we're beating Biden in all these polls, and we're beating everybody. And we have had to endure. We endured a fake Russia thing for years. We endured all of this stuff, all fake. And think of how bad these people were. A guy like Adam Shifty Shifter, he's a real bad guy. I call him pencil neck. He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen. He's not going to be playing for your local teams, Iowa State. They're not going to be recruiting him to play football. He makes up with Hillary and with the Democrats. They make up the Russia scam. He knows it's a scam. Think about how bad. I have sons and daughters. We love our sons and daughters, right? And I watch him on television one day. So he knows it's a hoax. Russia. It turned out to be a total hoax. No collusion. There was no anything. So he knows it's a hoax right in the middle. Out to the microphones after leaving a meeting, which is supposed to be very, quiet. Nobody's supposed to know what goes on in there. He goes out to the microphone and goes, The president's son, Donald Trump Jr., will go to prison for what he's done. Now, he knows it's a hoax. Think of it. It's not like I'm reading and seeing, and I watch this guy telling me. I'm watching him saying that my son is going to prison. My son is going to prison. And I know that he had nothing to do. There was nothing. There was a whole thing was made up. It was a made up story. You know why it was made up? It was an excuse why Hillary lost. They said, let's blame Russia. And it was supposed to be a one-day deal, but the fake news wouldn't let it be one day. And the fake news carried it and on and on and on. We have the same thing right now. It's going on still. Do you know that if I got indicted, but because the people know me so well, they know it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. They know that. And think of it. They say, he questioned the election. Everybody in this room questioned the election. The Democrats questioned 2016. They were all standing up. They were forming cards. They were forming all sorts of things. And those are the same guys that say it's so corrupt. Washington's a corrupt place. But think of it. You're watching some guy on television, a high-ranking congressman, say that your son is going to prison, and he knows that it was. I mean, how bad do you have to be to do that? And then it gets, no collusion after 2.5 years. And then 2 weeks go by, and I had a little piece. I focused on China and other things. It's almost the easy subject, right? I focused on the easy things like China, Russia. And they start with Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. He made a phone call to Ukraine. It was a perfect phone call. That phone call turned out to be absolutely, nobody's ever seen it. Everything I said was right. About please study if there's, and please report it to the Attorney General of the United States, etc. It turned out to be exactly right. A lot of people are saying right now they've got to undo even the theory of those indictments because those indictments were fake, just like everything else. So we have to get back to making our country great again. But you're right. Many people ask me that question. They say, how do you do it? And I do it because I feel real appreciation. And I do it because it's more important than anything else I could do. I could be living a very nice life in the most beautiful places all over the world. And here I am in Iowa, and I'd rather be here. I'd rather be here. Thank you very much. Very nice. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. President. What are you going to do to make future generations more successful than what we are right now?
Well, we have to save our country first. I really do. I mean, it's a great question in a way, but I think $6 trillion in debt. We are probably, if this group keeps running, think of what's happened. We used to be allies with Saudi Arabia, a lot of money, a lot of everything, a lot of energy. We didn't need their energy. That was a beauty. But we were allies with all these different countries. Everyone's left us. Brazil is up with China now. Saudi Arabia is with China. Many of the Middle Eastern countries, a lot of oil, a lot of money. The whole of South America is what happened over the last 2.5 years. We have no relation with all the bribe friendship. We try and bribe our friendships. We're not with anybody. We don't. And on NATO, they take total advantage of us. And, you see that with you. The problem is Biden got so far ahead of this thing that now, they're saying, well, why should we have to put up money? The things are putting it all up. That's what happened. We're 200 billion and they're 25 billion. And it's right at their doorstep. And we have an ocean in between us. It's much different. So the first thing, just to answer your question, we have to save our country. Okay? It's a sad answer, but it happens to be true. Okay, how about we do one more? We always have to end on a good one, okay? We have to end on a very good one.
Hi, President Trump.
Hi.
I want to say that I love and respect you so much, and I want to thank you for being America's biggest fighter. So there's that. But I also less of a policy-related question. I just want to know if you have any words of advice or encouragement for a lot of us young conservatives are afraid to speak out, as you may know. I definitely know from being a student at Iowa, Hawkeye State, by the way.
Well, good.
And I just want to
Good
know,
school.
especially with the caucus coming up, we need to get a lot more young people out there. So I'd just like to know if you have how we could be better paid.
We want low taxes. We want good education. We want to buy houses. Nobody can anymore because you were high. I was jawboning that guy. Get him down. You better get him down. Fire the head of the Federal Reserve, but he fired. And, you take a look at interest rates, what's happening right now. Just stay just the way you are. You shouldn't change at all. And just go out there. And people respect you, and they respect you more of you, okay? To a great school. Thank you all very much. So remember that. Get out and caucus and have a good time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Time
ready to get down with anyone he can. Hey, 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 hey. Macho, macho, macho man, yeah. I've got to be a macho. I've got to be a macho, macho man, yeah. I've got to be a macho. Oh, macho, macho man, yeah. I've got to be a macho man. Macho, macho man. Hey, hey. I've got to be a macho. Body, it's so hot, my body, baby. Love to pop my body, yeah, yeah. Please, love to please my body, baby. Don't you tease my body, yeah. You adore my body, baby. Come explore my body, yeah, yeah. Baby, my body, baby. So good, hey. You can tell him macho, he has a funky walk. His western shirts and leather always look so boss. Funky with his body, he's a king. Call him Mr. Ego, dig his chains. You can best believe that he's a macho man. He likes to be the leader, he never dresses grand. Hey, 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 hey. Macho, macho, macho man, yeah. I got to be a macho. I got to be a macho, macho man, yeah. I've got to be a macho. All right, macho, macho man, yeah, yeah. I've got to be a macho man. Macho, macho man. I've got to be a macho. All right. Macho, baby. Body, body, body. Oh, yeah. Body wanna feel my body. Wanna feel my body, baby. Body, all right. Body wanna feel my body. Wanna feel my body, hey, yeah. Body, all right. Body love to pop my body. Love to pop my body, hey, yeah. Body, body is so hot, my body. Every man ought to be a macho, macho man. To live a life of freedom, machos make a stand. Have their own lifestyle and ideals. Possess the strength and confidence like the steel. You can best believe that he's a macho man. He's a special person in anybody's land. Hey, 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 hey. Macho, macho, macho man, yeah. I got to be a macho. I got to be a macho, 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 yeah. I got to be a macho. Take the hair on my chest, macho, yeah. Macho man. I said take my big, thick mustache. I got to be all right, a macho. I got to be a macho, 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 macho man. I got to be a macho. Big broad shoulders, yeah. Macho man. Dig my muscle. I got to be a macho man. Talking about a macho, macho man. young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there. And I'm sure you will find many ways to have a time. It's fun to YMCA. It's fun to stay at YMCA. They have everything to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to YMCA. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. Young man, are you listening to me? I said, young man, do you wanna be? I said, young man, you can make real your dreams, but you got to know this one thing. No man does it all by himself. I said, young man, put your pride on the shelf and just go there to the YMCA. I'm sure they can help you today. It's fun to stay at YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. Young man, I was once in your shoes. I said I was down and out with the blues. I felt no man cared if I were alive. I felt the whole world was so dry. That's when someone came up to me and said, young man, take a walk up the street. It's a place there called the YMCA. They can start you back on your way. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for your men. You can hang out with all the boys. YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Young man, there's no need to feel down. Young man, pick yourself off the ground. YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Young man, are you listening to me? Young man, what do you wanna be? YMCA. You'll find it at the YMCA. No man, does it all by himself. Young man, put your pride on the shelf. YMCA. And just go to the YMCA. Young man, I was once in your shoes.
Okay.